So, this is the institution that Saimore's talking about. It looks like it's been abandoned, though. It doesn't appear to be anyone here, and the equipment doesn't seem to have been used recently either. Hope the information we came for is still here. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but the evidence you're looking for isn't here. Not that it matters, even if you found the evidence you're looking for who would listen to an Elia anymore? Oh, but don't worry, I haven't come to interfere with you. I came to tell you the truth about the Vindale forest. We should believe the words of someone who would betray his race and our captor, no less. It's your choice whether or not to believe me, but there's no use in wasting your precious time on a plan that will bear no fruits. As someone with the blood of the Elia, I can sympathize with you. How much do you know about the civilization of Remido? Remido overcame the materialism that had plagued 8th Terra, and even after 300 years was considered to be the greatest civilization of the world. All across the nation, various communities were joined by the idea of mutual cooperation with each other and harmony with nature. Yet among these communities was a group that differed from the others, known as the Utasu. Rather than being a close-knit community, Utasu was simply a generic term for those who lacked the ability to fit in with other communities. Those who couldn't form close bonds with others, those with abnormal desires, those who preferred solitude, those without morals, materialists. Anyone who didn't fit in with the other communities was named Utasu, and while it wasn't visible on the surface, they were detested by society. The substance that we know as ether was discovered by accident near the end of Remido. Remido had highly advanced biochemistry, and ether proved to be a valuable resource that provided a chemical change to a variety of medicines. And perhaps most importantly, ether could be harvested from trees and was environment friendly, a perfect fit for the ideology of Remido. With the discovery of ether came a great change in the position of Utasu in society. The process of ether collection was called star harvesting, and considered sacred. The Utasu were the greatest landholders. Through the process of star harvesting, Utasu regained their injured self-esteem, and found their place in the society of Remido. It was for this reason that, despite knowing it was coming, they averted their eyes from the creeping threat of the Meshera. How the Meshera came to be remains a mystery. What is known is that the ether was responsible for the immune system of the forests. With the rampant collection of ether, the forests were left easy prey for the Meshera. Because the Utasu were afraid of losing their status they had gained as ether collectors, by the time the rest of the world noticed what was happening, it was too late to do anything. The forest-devouring Meshera gradually spread, and where they spread, they created an environment where no other life on Earth could survive. The civilization of Remido was slowly slipping towards its death. It was only the Far East, where untouched forests still covered the land, that withstood the advance of the Meshera. People gave the forest the name of Vindale, meaning hope, and after many years, after the vast knowledge of culture of the previous human civilization had been lost, the Vindale forest lived up to its name. A massive immune reaction arose from the forest, becoming a wind that raged across the world. Indeed, this is what we now know as the ether wind. The ether wind enhanced the natural immunity of the plant life that had been infected by the Meshera, massively weakening the Meshera infection. The Vindale forest, which produced the ether winds, and the outside world where the Mashira had been weakened slowly began to differ from one another. That is the environment present in Urva now. With the arrival of the miracle of Vindale, the civilization of Remido came to an end, and the era of Sierra Terra began. But humanity had painful times in their future. As time passed, some were born who could adapt to life outside of the forest, and eventually, some who were born were only capable of living outside of the forest. How'd that turn out? You should well know. That is the truth of the forest. Should the Vindale forest ever be destroyed, the ether winds will cease. Eventually the Mashira would spread across all of Urva, leaving it a place unsuitable for life. So, now we understand the truth of the forest, and yet another question is even more difficult to grasp. What's the meaning behind doing this? I could understand if the motive was revenge against those who had abused the Elia, but what point would such an action have if all life perishes as a result? It is not revenge. It is both a punishment and a chance. Besides, life will not perish. Salvation is already within our grasp. I believe Remido to be the ideal civilization. Yet, something as weak as fellowship isn't enough to keep the Utasu in check. In order to overcome the Utasu, the civilization must have a stronger and more precise will. When the time comes, you'll understand. For this plan to succeed, the sacrifice of Vindale was required. Civilus, there's something I've been meaning to ask you. How is it that you know me? I once wore the name of Klein. Is that name familiar to you? The heir of Xanon, the man Saimore killed. Then you were the true king of Xanon? Interesting. That doesn't answer my question. A single girl was the trigger of everything. A light rain was falling in Aldehyde, scattering the streetlight as it fell to the earth. A group of people surrounded and gazed cruelly at a young alien girl, and a beautiful blonde young man protected her without hesitation. From that moment, he was like her brother. That event became Saimore's hope, and the White Hawk became the target of his admiration. Leash. Saimore wished for the two of you to live a happy life, and so he helped. You should know well that even in a merit-based society like Xanon, without some sort of connection it's difficult to realize the dream of becoming an officer of the Imperial Court while associating with an alien girl. Fairy of Aldehyde. Saimore?